getting ready to do my second round of splits. I'm gonna pull them up over excluders. Pulled into this yard. They're one of my faster yards. I've got cells that'll be ready on Sunday. First hive I opened. That's not what we want to see. I don't have any extra bottom boards, so we'll see how we're gonna handle this. If they've got a bunch of queen cells in here, I could just go get some bottom boards and repopulate this yard with splits out of this hive. I really would like some more information first. I don't want to get into this yard and them all have to be full of swarm cells. This colony was given a fourth of drawn comb, and they've got a lot of honey up there. It's just that time of year, you know, early April. That's when they want to swarm. It's always something. That is not what you want to hear when you get into a bee yard. That's why you carry that with you. Goodness. Super inefficient use of my time. That flat tire, I couldn't really reach inside. It was on the inside, and tire had to come off. I didn't have a jack with me. It was in my other trailer, so I had to run home, get the jack, get the tire off. I had to unhook from the trailer, of course, to do this. Get the tire off. I got it plugged. Don't have an air compressor on the trailer or on the truck, so I had to take the tire home, and now I'm headed back to put the tire back on the trailer and try to use these as learning experiences, because every work hour is precious, and I've just lost one. So I've got a spare tire mount to put on that trailer, but I'm not sure I like how it's going to work, so I've been thinking about it some more before I welded it on and mounted it in that location. And so I don't have a spare tire on there. If I did and I had a jack, we'd be working right now, not fooling around with a flat tire. So air compressor on the truck, jack in the truck at all times, and get a spare tire on that trailer as soon as I figure out what I think is the best way to do it. So finally got my tire fixed. Wasted a crap load of time doing that. Got back into this hive, decided to just pull all the brood frames out, cut all the cells off, because I've got queen cells that I like better than this. I don't want to propagate swarming tendencies, and swarm cells make great quality queens, but you can also propagate swarming tendency. It is a hereditary trait. So I was going through this hive. I actually found the queen. I almost never am able to find a queen in a hive that looks like that, but I did find her. So now what I'm gonna do is pull all their brood out into splits, give her some comb and some foundation down below, and she's gonna feel like she's swarmed, because she's not gonna have hardly any resources down here. They're gonna have a lot of work to do. All right, so this queen has got a box of empty comb down in the bottom. She's down there. A box with 8 foundations in it above that, then a queen excluder. I'll put the rest of the hive back on. I'm taking 4 6-frame splits away from her. One of them's a 5-frame split. The others are 6-framers. Knock down all the cells. I need to hold them to Sunday to pull. Hopefully this pays off. We'll see. All right, so a quick bit of bee math. If you double the population of a hive, honey production goes up by 2.5 to 3 times. That means that really big, highly populated hives make a lot more honey than smaller hives. A hive that swarms here is going to make no money. for me. It's better for me to take 4 nukes out of this hive that's trying to swarm and then see if I can keep them in the box than it is to try to do a smaller pullback. You know, I sell nukes at $2.25 a piece. Well, bees in boxes make money. Bees in the trees don't make anything, nothing. So there's a strong incentive for me to oversplit versus undersplit and let the bees hit the trees. So I'm really going to crack down on these swarmy hives and bust them up any way I can and try to keep them in their boxes. If they're in their boxes, I can make money with them. If they're not in their boxes, they're gone. So there's that hive. Here's the second hive in this yard. I think these two are sisters. And when there's that many bees on the inner cover, you crack it open. They're working side to side on an empty honey super you gave them on the 12th, like 2 weeks ago. I bet they've got swarm cells in here too. This is a quicker paced hive. So one way to manage swarming is having groups of bees that are sisters. You know, setting up an entire yard with sister queens that are all from one graft batch. They're going to mature at similar paces. It's no fun having a yard with some slower paced hives and some really fast paced hives, because I'm either early on the slow ones or I'm late on the fast ones. I've got enough fast-paced hives this year that I'm already thinking for next year, maybe instead of setting up 2 builders, I should set up 4. And that way I could get through my grafting quicker and make more splits faster. But I would have to have some help. I would have to have some labor to be able to do that. But if I was having, you know, 80 cells coming out every 4 days, then I could get through my yards pretty quick. In just 2 or 3 weeks, I would be done with the split and then put them into honey production. I think I'm gonna have some swarming this year because I'm obviously late on some of them already. Some of my yards, I think I'm on time. They're a little slower paced, but some of them I think I'm gonna lose. I would have bet money on this just from the way they looked. Would have bet money on it. Yeah, that's a problem. Ah, goodness, takes a lot of time to sort through this mess. I don't have the time. I gotta turn and burn. So this hive had cells in it too. The difference between this one and this one is I didn't find the queen in this one, which is more normal. So what I did is I took the top box off. It had a bunch of bees and some brood and some queen cells. Set the whole thing on a bottom board because I've got some empty spots in this yard. Put a super of foundation on top of them. We'll see if they return a queen or if the queen's already in there. And then this one, they've got a bunch of foundation in the bottom 2 boxes and then 4 5-frame splits on top of that. The queen is in one of these or this one. I don't know which, but we will find out in about 3 weeks. Because I'm going to drop a queen cell in this bottom part and then move the top 4 to my mating yard and drop queen cells in all those. And the cell will not be accepted in the one that has the existing queen in. And when I look in 3 weeks, she will have capped brood. It's easy to spot it. And I'll probably let her build a nuke up and mark her for replacement. I don't like bees that are this fast, this early in the season. It's hard for me to keep up. So this hive is actually going to be a breeder this year. They were in 3 boxes. They were a little slower paced, but great brood pattern. They were chock full, had the top box full of honey, no swarm cells. So a little bit slower paced, but they're really on track. This hive is probably a little too big. They're working side to side on this drawn comb super I gave them. They may have some brood in here, that they may not. It may all be honey. This worries me because I've seen a few hives that have white wax and nectar going in the tops. This is making me think I need to make a round on my whole operation and just super them with foundation just to make sure they've got a place to put nectar as it comes in instead of forcing the queen down and then swarming. It is very unusual for us to get this good of a flow this early in the season. It's got to be maple. Sugar maple is blooming this year. It didn't really bloom last year. We had some really cold weather last year. We had -10 actual temperature. That's the coldest we've been since 1985. So we didn't get a sugar maple bloom last year, and this year it seems to be really good. And that can be a problem. So I had to leave this yard to go get my kids. I've got 2 hives left to work. And the whole time I was gone, I was thinking that I need to speed up my splitting. I need to get more yards split sooner, or I'm gonna get into some swarming pressure and I'm gonna lose bees to the trees. So I thought that I would try to turn one of these into a cell builder. In 2 days, I'm supposed to graft into my bee builder. If I set this one up as a C at the same time, I can double production. So I went into this hive, and in the 3rd box, I found Queenie McQueen face. She was unmarked too. I'm shocked I found her in that big hive, but she was unmarked. And I'll show you what I'm doing with her. So I pulled the entire box with brood and everything in it that she was in, set it on the bottom board over here. A lot of this field force will leave, but she will stay over here. There you go, girl. No, no, not that way. There you go. Good job. All right. Now I've got a box with 4 drawn frames and 6 foundations I'll put on top of that. And then I'm gonna take their honey super and put on top of that. I'll put a queen excluder above this 2nd box and then put the honey super on top. They're gonna make honey for me, and I don't think we're gonna have swarming out of them. And the rest of this thing, I'm gonna go through it and make sure they don't have any queen cells. I guess I should do that on Friday because I haven't seen any cells in the rest of these. And I actually did find 1 cell in a honey super in the top box. Just one cell. So maybe they were trying to superseed. I'm not sure. But I'll have to go through this whole thing Friday to knock down emergency cells. So I think I'll just wait. Do that on Friday. I'll probably give them a box of foundation because there's a lot of bees in there. Cell builder number 3, or C. Just got done unloading 5,000 frames and pulled up to park the tractor, and I see that my friend has finally come back out. I can't tell if that's the racer or the king snake. He looks like a racer. Yeah, that's my racer. Looking fat and sassy. These guys will eat other snakes, anything they can overpower. Really don't mind having him around. I wouldn't want to step on him in the dark though. Kids are out of school today because of severe weather and flooding. We were up most of the night last night with tornado warnings. I had to go to the basement multiple times, just like up all night. Every time you get back to bed, there's a new warning. I have to go back to the basement. So I have been working in the shop doing some welding today, and had to take the kids home and feed them. My wife got home, so I wanted to sneak over here and get some more work done tonight. Another tornado warning. Sirens going off, my phone's going off. I gotta get home and get everybody in the basement again. Every hour of work is precious, and I'm losing a bunch. I'm curious if anybody transports young larvae for grafting. I've done this a little bit. Like, I've got hives that I identify as breeders in some yards, and then I've got builders in other yards. So what I'm doing is heating up a wet towel and my incubator in my truck, going ahead and grafting into my cell bars, wrapping those in the damp towel, putting them in the incubator, and then driving to the other yard and getting them in my builder as quick as I can. The farthest I've ever had to drive is maybe 10 minutes or something like that. Today we're gonna do about 20 minutes. I'm curious if anybody else does this, if they have any pros or cons or experiences. I know Steve Tabor, in his book Breeding, I think it was Breeding Super Bees. I may be wrong on that title. I know it was Steve Tabor. He experimented by putting eggs in water and chilling them in the refrigerator for 24 hours down to like 42 degrees, and then putting them back in a hive, and he said they all hatched. He said that it was much more important that you keep them damp than that you keep them warm. So I don't know. I think this will probably work. If it doesn't, then I'm gonna be in a bind. I need these queens. I need to make splits like now. So I can't lose a graft batch. But there's a queen up here in this out yard I found that has got a lot of VSH tendencies. She's uncapping, recapping, chewing brood out, and she's gentle and productive. All the things I'm looking for. So I'm gonna graft off of her, and I'll probably keep her daughters, populate my yards with her daughters and see how they do. So I've got 3 tulip poplar trees there. The tallest ones, of course, are the tallest tree in Tennessee state tree, and it is a major nectar flow for us, and it generally blooms as soon as these trees get to full leaf. So when those leaves get to full size, it'll bloom. In the past, that's been around May 1st. Last year it was early. It was about April the 20th. And judging by how leafed out these are already, I think it's gonna be early again this year. It means we may only be 2 weeks away from the main flow. Goodness, I've got a lot of work to do before that happens. Boy, the clock's ticking.